Welcome to The Explainer. We're jumping right in today because we've got something really special to look at. We're exploring a deeply emotional, kind of secretive spiritual tradition, the rituals of the Jagannath Temple in Puri, and specifically a sacred event known as Jagannath Netrotsava. This isn't just your standard religious calendar event. It's a profound story about vulnerability, healing, and renewal that millions of people eagerly anticipate every single year.
Now, I want you to just think about this for a second. What actually happens when the lords of the universe get sick? It's a pretty wild concept, right? I mean, we usually think of supreme deities as invincible, untouchable, completely beyond human frailty. But here, the supreme deities experience a very relatable, very human cycle of catching a fever, going into quarantine, and eventually recovering. It completely changes the dynamic between the divine and the devotee, grounding the Almighty in a shared, vulnerable experience.
Section 1. The Divine Fever, Snana Purnima.
So this whole thing kicks off with a massive ceremonial bath called Snana Purnima. We're talking about Lord Jagannath, Lord Balabhadra, and Goddess Subhadra being brought out to be bathed. And I don't mean just a little splash of water. They are drenched with exactly 108 pitchers of sacred herbal water. That is a lot of water. And naturally, what happens when you or I stay out in the freezing rain for too long? We catch a cold, right? Well, the exact same thing happens here. Tradition says that because of this massive, cooling bath, the deities actually catch a severe divine fever. And to put the schedule into perspective, this isn't some quick 24-hour bug. Day 1 is the Great Bath, Snana Purnima. Then, because they're sick, days 2 through 16 are a strict 15-day quarantine period called Anusara, where the deities completely vanish from the public. Day 17 is the climactic Netrotsava, the Grand Awakening we'll be zooming in on today. And that perfectly tees up Day 18, the world-famous Ratha, where the renewed deities embark on their grand chariot journey. Section 2. Healing in Seclusion, the Anusara Period. So what actually goes on behind those locked temple doors? Well, during this 15-day Anusara period, the deities are moved to a special secluded sick room called the Anusara Gara. They need rest, you know? And just like we need someone to bring us soup when we're down for the count, the deities need caretakers. That incredible responsibility falls to the Dayapati servitors. These folks are literally considered the deity's closest family members. It's an incredibly intimate relationship. They step right in to nurse their sick relatives back to health in total privacy. And the treatments they use are absolutely fascinating. The servitors apply sacred body treatments, including a special medicinal oil called fuluri oil, to soothe the deities. They even give them authentic Ayurvedic medicines, specifically a remedy called Dasamula Manika, to break the fever. But there's also a very physical side to this healing. Since the idols are crafted from wood and just got soaked with 108 pitchers of water, their paint actually needs some serious TLC. So during this time, they undergo a meticulous, natural repainting and restoration process, all hidden away in absolute secrecy.
This creates such a powerful emotional dynamic for the festival. Just imagine the contrast here. Inside the Anusara Gara, the physical deities are resting, getting their secret herbal treatments. But outside, the devotees are completely cut off. For 15 whole days, there is zero public darshan, meaning no one gets to actually see the idols. Instead, the public prays to these stunning traditional paintings called Anusara Pati that act as stand-ins. It's tough. It's a real period of separation that builds this massive electric anticipation.
Section 3. Painting the Sacred Eyes, the Netrotsava Ritual. Okay, so during those 15 days of quarantine, the servitors completely restore the bodies of the deities, but they intentionally leave one absolutely crucial detail unfinished: the eyes. Then, on the morning right before Rath Yatra, we hit the Netrotsava festival. Netrotsava literally translates to Festival of the Eyes. Specially designated servitors go in and perform this highly sacred three-step ritual. First, the right eye is completed using sacred honey while Vedic mantras are chanted. Second, the left eye gets finished with clarified butter, or ghee, along with sacred hymns. And finally, traditional kajal is applied. With that final meticulous brushstroke, the divine gaze is complete. The Lord's spiritual energy and vision are officially brought back online.
And what happens next is just magical. The second the eyes are painted, the temple doors are thrown wide open for Nava Jubanada Darshan. That translates to the darshan of the ever-youthful Lord. Put yourself in the devotee's shoes. After 15 agonizing days of worrying about the sick deities, you finally get to see them. And they aren't just healed, they are freshly decorated, radiant, and absolutely bursting with youthful divine energy. It is widely considered one of the most joyous, deeply emotional moments in the entire Jagannath tradition.
Section 4.
The Unfinished Idols, exploring the ancient mythology.
Now, you're probably asking yourself, why the eyes? Why leave them for last and make a whole festival out of it? Well, for that, we need to rewind to some ancient mythology. The story goes all the way back to the original creation of the Jagannath idols by King Indrajumna. The king commissioned Lord Vishwakarma, who showed up disguised as a mortal carpenter, to carve the deities. But Vishwakarma had one strict rule. Absolutely no one could open the workshop doors until the carving was 100% finished.
And the result? As the legend goes, the divine craftsman disappeared, leaving the idols with unfinished limbs and unpainted eyes. So to fix this massive blunder, a special ritual was held on an auspicious day to finally paint the eyes and grant the deities their divine vision before the public saw them. That mythological event was the very first Netrotsava. So today, centuries later, intentionally leaving the eyes unpainted during Anasara and finishing them at the last moment is a way of honoring that exact ancient tradition.
Section 5. A festival of renewal and its spiritual meaning.
So, taking a step back from the herbal medicines and the legends, what does this all actually mean for the millions of people who observe it? Well, Netrotsava delivers some incredibly profound spiritual lessons. It's this beautiful reminder that renewal always comes after a period of hardship. It shows us that a period of separation actually deepens our devotion. Absence really does make the heart grow fonder, even in a spiritual context. It proves that patience brings divine grace, but maybe the most amazing takeaway is that Lord Jagannath is a deeply compassionate deity because he literally shares in our human vulnerabilities. He gets sick, he needs rest, he has to recover. He's not some distant, untouchable force. He goes through exactly what we go through.
Which brings us to a final thought I want to leave you with today. How does viewing the divine through such a deeply human lens, this lens of illness and healing, change your own perspective on spirituality? It really flips the script on what it means to be powerful, showing us that even the lords of the universe need time to rest, heal, and be cared for by the people who love them. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this fascinating tradition has given you something truly meaningful to think about.